Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 26 of Speak On
26.
It. You know anyone who wore 26 that was famous? I
Shoot.
forgot to do my research again.
Adrian Peterson wore 28. That's where I don't know why that's where my mind first went. Who wore 26? I have someone on the top of my head and I see their face. I can't think of their name.
Didn't Kyle Korver wear 26? Adrian Peterson wore 26.
He did?
He did. He wore it in DC. Rod Woodson, Kyle Korver, Saquon.
That's what it was. That was the name I was thinking of. Saquon Barkley. Welcome to the Saquon Barkley episode.
Welcome to the
because he's healthy. He's going to be the universal number 2 overall pick in any draft league out here. Speaking of fantasy, this isn't a fantasy show, people. This is not a fantasy show. I just want to speak on this because football season is back and football is synonymous with, the most fantasy, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I have been deep into my fantasy bag. I've already got my top 100 draft board. I'm just trying to work on my strategy because, all my drafts are randomized. So I don't know which order I'm really going to pick in. So I just have to keep doing mock draft after mock draft. No matter what order I get, I'm going to be ready. And that's all I'm going to say. It's a pleasure.
You and I are in the fantasy league this year. And so you and I are in the same league this year. And I plan on dominating. I plan on taking all y'all money.
Yo, it's funny because you said that last year and your team wasn't that good.
I made the playoffs. I think I was the final seed, but I made the playoffs.
No, you did not.
Yes, I did.
Dude, did you?
I'm pretty sure I made the playoffs.
I don't remember that. Maybe I gotta look back on it. Maybe I gotta look back on it because I don't remember you making the playoffs in my league. But that was last year. We got a new year. Also, by the way, it's the last fantasy thing because it's not a fantasy show. It's not a fantasy show. It's the last thing I'm gonna say about fantasy league. Just know mock drafts gives you false hope. PJ, you got to expand on that. I need to know why. Just know this season, I think it's going to be way more competitive than last season. Last season, we had like 2 or 3 teams who are just like some kick arounds. I fully expect our league to be a lot more competitive.
Oh, that's going to be great. Luckily for you and I, we head over to goingfor2.com for our fantasy advice. So you and I can be playing for a championship and all this money that I have yet to pay you that is in the mail, I promise.
Well, look, I told you, the money's not due until the draft day. Honestly, the money is cool. I get excited to send people the championship belt. So people in the fantasy league that I run, the winner gets money, of course. It's $50 per, $50 per, what's the pot again? We doing 350, 150, yeah. 350, 150. But the winner also gets like a WWE championship belt. And I get more excited to send that than send the person the money. I know the person wants the money, but it's like, yo, you won this. You won this. So I'm excited.
Luckily, I live close to you, so you don't have to mail anything. I can just meet you. And I can get the belt at the end of the year.
Please send it through Venmo. Please send it through Venmo.
I'm talking about the belt. When I win, I don't have to go far to get the belt. I can just come meet you. True. I can meet you and just grab it, and we can do the exchange like that.
All right. Last year I had the number 2 overall pick. Took Saquon. He got hurt. Oh, but we're not here to talk fantasy, people. We here to just talk. We here to speak on it. We got a good show today. I'm pretty sure y'all saw in the little caption detail that my man Danny Ocean just so happened to implement this week. This week we chatting on the Olympics. We chatting on a little college football. We're doing a preview of the NFC East. And we're going to discuss Waffle House. We're going to discuss the verses from last week. We're going to discuss the new Suicide Squad movie. And I'm ready. Danny Ocean, first off, how are you, my man? How you been the last week?
Since last Tuesday, after that slaughter that was the verses with Dipset, I was so confident when we signed off last week. And then last night at this time at midnight, early Wednesday morning, I was in bed. My wife was asleep. I had my headphones in. And I was listening to verses. I was weeping. I was like, yo, the Locks just slaughtered Dipset. It was so bad. It was so bad.
What did Jada say? It's good, but it's not enough.
He's such a menace in the best possible way. Like, talk about a showman. I really appreciated that. As someone who was so confident in Dipset.
I mean, we gonna get into that later, but just know your boy was right. I told you, Locks got them hits. They got them songs where you be like, oh yeah, and you know they knew what they was doing. Dip said they was just like, yo, we here for the check.
We'll talk about this later because there was a path of victory for Dipset had they decided to take it.
Oh, here we go.
There was a path.
Okay. I'm hearing you. Someone in the chat already said Waffle House is open. Yeah, we're gonna discuss that. Trust me, we're gonna get into the Waffle House talk.
Right.
But let's start off today talking about the Olympics. As we know, the Olympics wrapped up last week. There are a number of incredible performances, not only from our fellow American athletes, but athletes all across the world. The United States led the way, 39 gold medals. I believe they had the most medals out of any country too, based on the latest count. So, Danny, what's your thoughts on the Olympics that just passed? Holla at me.
My first thought, since you and I focused on USA basketball so much, my first thought was, I'm sorry, Greg Popovich, I spoke extremely ill of you when y'all were losing to Nigeria and Patty Mills dropped 40 on you. So my bad. America is still elite in basketball. I had no doubts in the women's game. They haven't lost since 1992, which is an insane stat. But overall, I just enjoyed watching sports that I don't get to watch regularly. Like I watched water polo, table tennis, handball, archery. Like I was on the edge of my seat watching the guy from Italy win. Like that was such an amazing moment. I really enjoy watching the Olympics as a whole because you just get to see sports that you don't see. Like I was at work, I was watching speed walking. I had no idea this was an Olympic sport. That people were legit speed walking around the track for gold. Yeah, just. I thought it was a Delta convention. I mean, a Kappa convention. Like I thought they was in that joint shimmying. Nope, they're trying to get some gold.
Oh my goodness. Yo, I'm with you. I think the I overall enjoyed. First off, let's just go back. I'm gonna start with basketball. I believe I said, yo, it's a little spooky, but I'm not too worried because we're gonna win the gold. Again, especially when you have Kevin Durant, the first or second best basketball player in the world, we're going to be all right. That was a team full of guys who knew how to play. They just had to come together. Shout out to Team USA Basketball for bringing home the gold, both on the men and women. Shout out to y'all. Y'all did the damn thing. Shout out to the track and field athletes who are holding it down. And that's not only just Team USA. I'm talking like across the board. The most incredible race, and you probably saw me tweeting about it, the most incredible race I saw, the 400-meter hurdles. Yo, I want everyone to just realize and process how insane of a time 45.9 is over hurdles. This man ran 45.9 seconds over 400 meters while jumping over hurdles. That's insane. To put it in perspective, people, outside of the SEC, the Southeastern Conference, you could run 45.9 and go to the Big 12, the Big 10, the ACC, the MAC 10, run 45.9 in the open 400, no hurdles, and you have a chance to win it. That guy ran 45.9 over 400 meters while jumping over hurdles and won the event.
That's crazy.
Second place would have broken the world record. Third place would have been like the second or third fastest time ever. That's just how incredibly fast that race is. Shout out to that entire final. That was insane. And I'm with you. There were a lot of sports I was like, yo, I don't watch this a lot. This is really cool to watch. One sport to me was the canoeing, like the short canoeing.
Yeah.
They be going. I'm like, yo, like they be in there, especially when it's just two of them. They be coordinated with it. I'm like, yo, first off, I know your upper body is worn out, yo, like worn out. And when they be crossing the finish line, you can just tell they exhausted. And I'm just sitting here like, yo, I never knew canoeing was that difficult.
Yeah.
And so I was watching, I was like, yeah, you never gonna catch me in a boat. You never gonna catch, no. I'll be on the boat. You're never gonna catch me canoeing on a boat. People, if you ever hear about Darius Watkins and an unfortunate accident in the ocean, it's because it might have been a canoe and my black ass decided, ain't no way I'm canoeing this bitch. Just, hey.
It's time to go.
It's just, I gotta go. Man, shout out to all the athletes well across the board, well deserved. Shout out to the first time medalist winners. Shout out to the repeat medalists. I mean, really, still The girl who I'm not gonna say her name. I mean, I'm forgetting her name, but the woman from Jamaica who won the 1 and 200, she's a beast.
Yes.
10-6 in the 100, 21-6 in the 200. People, I want y'all to know, if y'all stole her money, you are not getting away from her. She is running you down quickly. A woman running 10-6, woo! Woo! People, I'm gonna put it in perspective because I'm not ashamed of my track and field resume. My fastest 100-meter dash was 10:45. She ran 10:6. She's on my ass. Not only is she on my ass, she probably beat me like the first, like me in my prime, she might be beating me like the first 20 or 30. And I just gotta come back. Man, come on, man. Shout out to the athlete from Italy who won the men's 100.
Yes.
Shout out to Andre DeGrasse from Canada who won the 200. I remember watching him in college run, and I think my sophomore year he actually won the indoor 2 with a crazy time. He ran like 20.01 indoors. People, he ran it indoors, 20.01. If you don't know how fast that is, just know my fastest outdoor 200 time was 20.9. He's smoking my boots indoors and outdoors. Just shout out across the board to all the Olympic athletes. You guys are incredible. Glad to see y'all coming back home, especially in the U.S., coming back home and getting love, because that's what it's all about. So shout out to y'all.
One thing that does need to stop, that I was really nervous was, I know it's a tale as old as time, but having throwers in the middle of the track, like they were throwing disc during the running event. I was like, man, if someone slip up, that disc is killing somebody on the track. That even when I threw shot, that was always a fear of mine. Like I went to a track one time, and like they use the field for throwing events. Like, man, if someone mess up, that's it.
Well, you would have to. Well, athletes at that level aren't gonna, one, mess up enough to where they throw it at someone on the track, and two, if they throw it so far that it lands on the track, I promise you, everyone on that track is not going to give a damn about what's being ran, because they're going to be like, yo, test this mug immediately. You doing that bitch that far? Test it. There's a reason why they have it start out in the corner and goes outward in the field, because it's like, yo, if you throw it all the way out here, you might be an alien. Elon Musk. But again, shout out to all the Olympic athletes, man. I was glad to see the Olympics back. Can't wait for the Paris Games. And in between, if you're a track and field fan, we got some world championships, I believe next year, I believe. So I'm excited for it. But moving on to our next question segment of the day, our next topic of the day. So college football. It's a little over 2 weeks away. Danny, are there any week 1 matchups you're most excited to see? I'm going to name a few just to get us kind of going. If you got any others, throw them out there. So we got Bama versus Miami. We got UGA versus Clemson. We got LSU versus UCLA.
So I wrote down my 3 that I'm looking forward to. One is Bama, Miami. I'm sad that's the 3:30 game. I'm surprised. I guess you can't give Bama too many primetime games. You got to give them
you got to give UGA Clemson you got to give UGA primetime.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Louisiana Lafayette versus the Texas Longhorns. Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns made a lot of noise last year.
They did.
They finished 19th in the country. I'm really looking forward to the Raging Cajuns versus Texas, because Texas has been getting a lot of hype that they're back. They've been back for 20 years since Vince Young left. I'm really excited to see if if the Raging Cajuns can keep that momentum from last year, if Texas can start off on the right foot. And then on a personal note, my alma mater, Old Dominion University, is going to be traveling down to Wake Forest to play an ACC team. I am very excited that we are starting to play teams in bigger conferences, because we are going to make a bid for the ACC within the next 8 years. That is my goal, to be a D1 Power 5 school in the next 5 to 10 years. And this is like step 2, because they played UNC when I was there. They've been playing ACC teams. They've been playing ACC teams more and more. I think they're trying to build those relationships. So when it's time, when Clemson wants to leave the ACC, or whomever, or when Notre Dame joins the ACC full time, you'll need another team to even it out. Old Dominion will be there. Call us. We're a great school. We'd be a great Power 5. So
Okay, I'm gonna just okay. Clemson, don't leave the ACC, dog. You got a stranglehold on it. There's no need to leave. There's like to bounce off that point to your Texas point. Y'all better get it together in this Big 12 year because when you go to the SEC, you and Oklahoma, one of y'all's getting put in Bama's division, and the other one's getting put in Georgia's division. And I'm gonna tell you, whichever one gets put in Bama's division is gonna be very upset for some years to come because they're gonna be mad every year when Nick Saban is smoking their boots off for no damn good reason. In my opinion, most exciting game to me is going to be UGA Clemson. That was like one of the bigger matchups when I was in high school. Back before Clemson was Clemson and UGA was still being UGA. Now I think about it, they were still pulling peak UGA moves. So I'm excited to see that one just because I'm going to root for Clemson all the way. Not only for ACC pride, but I rocks with Clemson. I rocks with Clemson. I ain't never
rocks with Dabo.
I never had no beef with Dabo. Like, yeah, he a clown, but I never had no beef with with Clemson. And if I hadn't went and ran for Tech, I was easily about to go to Clemson. So I got a lot of love for Clemson. The track athletes, I knew they were always cool. So I'm gonna root them on. I'm actually kind of excited to see LSU and UCLA. I need to know if Ed Orgeron fooled the masses with one of the greatest rosters of all time, or if this guy's pretty legit. And I'm ready to see if Chip Kelly is legit in bringing back UCLA or if that's just fraudulence. I know as an Eagles fan, you're not too happy to hear the name Chip Kelly because he set y'all back a few years.
To speak on Chip Kelly, I have to look this up, but I believe some of his players, because this is like his third year at UCLA, and they're still garbage. And I think some of his players, if I'm not mistaken, spoke out and were just kind of, he's a terrible coach. Like Chip Kelly should have been gone. But who wants to go coach at UCLA? Nobody. So you got to keep Chip Kelly.
Why would I think the thing is like why? I don't want to be rude because Troy Aikman went there, and Troy Aikman's a decent.
I mean, that was 30 years ago. You can talk about it.
So my thing is that all right, if you're a coach and you have to choose between coaching at UCLA or potentially staying where you're at and waiting for a potential USC opening, you're taking the USC job all day, every day, right?
Well, we already talked about USC. That's going to Urban Meyer this year. That's going to Urban.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
Urban Meyer coaches the Jacksonville Jaguars
today.
And he has a generational quarterback, and I guarantee if they have a good year, he's not going to want to leave anytime soon.
Okay. Urban Meyer will be the coach at USC this time next year.
Yo, if he's not, me and you're going to have a long conversation of some of these takes of yours because these are some hot takes that I just need to know.
That's probably the hottest one I'll ever have.
Yeah, okay. So the next part of our college football discussion, obviously, every college football team is going to have one goal in mind, and that's going to be getting to the college football playoff. So my question to you is, do you think there are any teams that will unseat the usual Bama, Clemson, Ohio State 1, 2, 3 in the college football playoff? Or do you think that these three are like Thanos and they are just inevitable to just come back to the playoff?
If any of those teams are any kind of shaky ground, it's probably Ohio State. But I'm 1, 2, 3. It's been like it's a tale as old as time. And I guess the best looking team from the Big 12 or the Pac-10 will get that 4th spot, right? That's what it's usually been. Or maybe a 2-loss SEC team that's or
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame does not belong in the college football playoff ever. No, they don't belong there. Until they join a conference and play a conference schedule, Notre Dame should not be allowed in the college football playoff.
But they basically play a hybrid conference schedule.
Nope,
because
you don't get to pick your opponents. Nope. Okay. You don't get to do it. Okay. You can't pick your schedule and then ask me to invite you to the dance. No, there's a reason. Like conference games mean something. There's something about playing the same team every single year. Like Notre Dame, I know they play USC. I know last year they joined the ACC last year because of COVID, so they did deserve their invitation last year, but until they join a conference full time, they don't deserve to be there.
It's funny because last year they were in the ACC and they ran the gauntlet, I believe, in conference play, right? They were undefeated in conference play.
I believe so. And then they lost to Clemson in the ACC.
And then they got they got the ACC championship game, and Clemson was like, time to sit up and try, and they got ran out the building.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Trevor Lawrence was out that first game. It was a Saturday night game. Yeah,
and they barely lost that game, right?
I think they lost in OT, something like that.
Yeah, you know what? Notre Dame had a very unfortunate year. Now I'm thinking back, they had a very unfortunate ending to their year because their last 2 games were literally against Clemson and Bama.
Oh well, no love for Notre Dame over here. I'm sorry. Like they've joined the ACC and every other sport for football. Like I understand there's a contract with NBC and like being an independent, but until that, you can't sit here and tell me they belong when they get to play fewer games. They don't have to play a conference championship game. That's a competitive advantage. They get an extra week or 2 of rest. Nah, dog, you don't get nothing from me.
So my question, I know we don't have this on the docket, but my question would be okay, so usually the same argument comes around the time for the college football playoff, right? You're going to get Clemson, Bama, Ohio State, and then the fourth spot, as you said, is either a Pac-12 school or a Big 12 school. What about some of these other maybe mid-major schools that just run the gauntlet, like a Coastal Carolina, someone who just goes undefeated, or like a UCF, like a Group of 5 team who just runs the gauntlet, goes undefeated, wins their conference handedly, and still just gets the best bowl against the losing team from the SEC championship?
I mean, for the other teams, like they not only have to win, but they have to be dominant, right? Like we're talking about,
and I don't get it either.
Like you're winning by multiple. Well, that's because the theory is like the level of competition isn't as good as Alabama's conference schedule, right? Like UCF is playing. I don't know who's in that conference, but Memphis. Like Houston. They're playing a bunch. Yeah, Houston and Southern. Meanwhile, Alabama's playing Auburn, Florida, and other SEC schools.
But it's not like they're playing Florida every year. The only team they're guaranteed to play every year that are going to be decent are going to be what? A&M, maybe. Auburn, maybe.
I have to look at
like that. Bama has such a grip on that side of the division of the SEC. Is that you look at it outside of the maybe good game between A&M, Auburn, and I'll throw Tennessee in there because Tennessee maybe here and there has gives them a half decent game. Other than that, we had in Arkansas. Who else in that side?
I pulled up their schedule.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss,
LSU.
Okay, no, that's the other one. That's the other good game that they get. So LSU is always their biggest opponent. But outside of LSU, Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, and maybe A&M, Bama's playing the bottom level of the SEC, respectfully speaking, because they're just so good. On the flip side, Georgia, who usually, if they're, when we're talking about that 4th spot, Georgia always gets consideration because they usually lose 1 game or 2 games. It's usually to a Bama and a Florida or something like that. Their SEC opponents outside of Florida are always just.
Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule now, and this is real suspect. Their schedule, real suspect.
See what I'm saying? So they're going to go undefeated, go to the SEC championship game. Bama going to toss them around a little bit, and then we're going to be back in the same conversation. Oh, well, Georgia's only loss was to Bama. Well, look at the schedule.
They played Vanderbilt.
Yeah, they beat Vandy by 50. Man, I hope you would beat Vandy by 50.
All due respect.
Yeah, with all due respect to Vanderbilt. So my thing is like, okay, clearly we've seen the same formula play out these last couple of years. At this point, no one trusts the Pac-12. No one trusts the winner of the Pac-12 because we've seen what happens there. The winner of the Big 12 is going to give you a whole lot of offense, but not a lot of defense. So after the 3rd quarter, they're just getting worn out and they getting done up. You might as well give it to one of these Group of 5 teams. Like, at what point do you just give it to? Because, okay, let's just say, what was that school? What was it? Central UCF, undefeated for like 2 straight years, and they went to that bowl game. Was it against Auburn a couple years ago? And they gave them a good game. They might have beat them.
Let's see. I know last year the game was Cincinnati versus. That was because Cincinnati was the team.
The power, the Group of 5 team. So at what point do we just be like, yo, We've seen what the Pac-12 does. We've seen what the Big 12 gets us. Okay, Georgia, maybe. Why not just give it to a group of 5? And I know they're talking about expanding the playoff. I don't honestly. My opinion is, if you're going to expand it, you expand it to 6. You give the first 2 seeds a bye. You give the next, then make that first round just home games, and then you do the last 4. But with that, I would say lose a game or 2 on the regular season schedule. I don't want to see Bama versus the Citadel. I'm sorry. I know it's homecoming, but I'm sorry. I don't want to see it. You know what I'm saying?
So if you expand it to 6, do you leave that 6th seat open to the best non-Power 5 school like the UCF, Cincinnati? If Memphis has a good year, do you save that last spot for that?
Oh, because you're assuming that each winner of the Power 5, their champion goes in. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would say they would. I'm going to take a step back and say, if we expand it to 6, the only guaranteed conference champion I think should always be in is the SEC.
Oh yeah, that's not going to go over well with the other guys. They're not going to like that. Like if it goes to that and the 5, like Power 5 win and you're in, that leaves a lot of stuff out of the committee's hands, because I feel like every year we have some sort of argument that the committee messed up or they contradicted themselves in the year before. So if it's 6, Power 5, you win your conference championship, you're in. And then the 6th one can either be a 2-loss SEC team, or if there's a Cinderella team like a UCF or Houston or whoever, like that 6th spot is for you. I kind of like that idea.
I don't think it's a bad idea, but it's like, okay, but my thing is like, okay, if you get like give me an example. If you get an ACC champion that's a undefeated Wake Forest team, and they're matched up against an undefeated Ohio State, son, why am I about to watch this beatdown for 60
never know. See, you never know. I like a good underdog story. I know for me, they've ruined it. God rest his soul, Colt Brennan and that Hawaii team put up those numbers, and then Georgia just throttled them on TV. That was a rough night. I was a big Colt Brennan fan. Like, I thought he should have won the Heisman that year. And they went to Georgia for the Peach Bowl? What bowl?
Something like that.
I remember like, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was some one of the bigger bowls like that they went to it, and boy, it wasn't pretty.
Dog, I think the first series, like some DN just beat their left tackle, and Colt didn't see it coming, and like he got blasted. And I was like, that's it, I'm done. The Hawaii train I
can't watch this no longer.
Like my homies were texting me like, "What's going on with your boy Colt Brennan?" I was like, "Dog, he playing against NFL defense."
I don't know. That's why my thing is like, okay, if we expand it to 6, we know that the winner of the SEC more than likely is going to be a really good team.
Yes.
The winner of the ACC is going to be a good team. The winner of the Big 10, albeit is likely going to be them boys from Ohio State, going to be a really good team. When you start talking about the Pac-12, the Big 12, it's like, you don't know. Remember that Washington team that matched up with Bama?
God.
What was it? What was the dude's name?
That was Sidney Jones's. Oh, that was because Sidney Jones hurt his Achilles. I don't remember his name, but I just know he looked like a JV player.
Yeah, man. Bama ran them boys out the building. Same with when what happened to that Michigan State team that rolled up against Bama that year. They got ran out the building. So it's clear, when it comes to the Big 10, if it's Ohio State coming out, hey, they giving somebody a run for their money. If it's Clemson coming out, they giving someone a real run for their money. We know about the SEC. Pac-12 and Big 12, we don't know.
But it's kind of a cool story. Like, what if Baylor has a magical, Baylor catches fire, and next thing you know, they're in the college football play. That's a cool story. I enjoy stories like that. Even if they do get robbed.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's a cool story, but I'm talking about game-wise. Oh man, it gets spooky quick. And now you got to sit there for 60 minutes and watch a team get embarrassed on national television in front of all the fine women for no reason. That could have been avoided.
I enjoy it. Nothing wrong with watching a beatdown every once in a while. Sometimes I enjoy watching dominance.
You right. Hey man, a couple years, I think it was my sophomore year, Ohio State came to Tech. I knew what was going to happen. And I stayed most of that game just because I wanted to witness the greatness that is Ohio State. And
Was that Cardell Jones? Is that the year he took over?
That was the JT Barrett spin move game.
Oh, that was on ESPN. Was that the Monday night? That was a Monday night game, right? Yeah, I remember that.
Our coach, he said, "Yo, we don't have practice today. If you're going to the game, enjoy yourself. It's going to be a good one." And in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, it's going to be a good one for Ohio State." Respectfully speaking, you know how I feel about my Virginia Tech Hokies, so you know I'm not just jumping ship. But I knew what it was. Like what did Meek Mill say? There's levels to this. And when it comes to my Virginia Tech fandom, I keep it in a realistic level. Like if we have a good year and we maybe lose 1 or 2 games,
like when you lost to Liberty.
Why'd you do that? Why we shooting? That's what we doing. ODU beats us one time, and this how we doing?
I forgot about that. I wasn't even gonna say that. I forgot all about that.
I had to say it for you so you couldn't get it out.
You beat me too. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, like my Virginia Tech fandom is like realistic. Like I know we're always going to be a pretty good ACC team, but like, do I think if Virginia Tech's in the discussion for a college football playoff, I'm gonna be genuinely surprised.
I mean, the ACC is kind of weak though, right? ACC's kind of weak. You got Clemson. Who else you got? Who else is like? Miami. Miami. I feel like every year we talk ourselves.
Who I found out is ranked 9th.
UNC that quarter. I mean, the thing about UNC is they lost both their running backs. I think they lost like their leading receiver. Like UNC lost a lot of talent last year. But every year we talk ourselves into Miami. And you know what that is? Miami will never be good as long as they're sponsored by Adidas. Those jerseys look so tacky. Like they went away from Nike. Like those Miami Adidas jerseys look so terrible.
Yo, so you're saying if Miami was Nike again, they'd be 2001 all over again?
Yeah, something about that check is intimidating. Same with UCLA, they're sponsored by Under Armour. Who's scared? Like who afraid?
Trying to think, what are the good Adidas teams?
Research, Kyle. Are you in here? Anybody put in a good football team that wears Adidas?
Louisville?
Louisville's an Adidas team, but yeah, are they like?
Yeah, but that was with Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Okay. I thought you might be onto something here because I'm trying. There's got to be a good Adidas team out here.
I'm sure there. I mean, think of the big dogs though: Alabama, Nike; Clemson, Nike; Ohio State, Nike; Notre Dame is.
Kyle was good.
What's up, Kyle? Kyle, can you find college football teams that are sponsored by Adidas that are actually contenders? Not even
I'm not sure how to research that. He says.
I don't either. But
oh man,
find me an Adidas team that puts fans somebody hard. Yeah, A&M, Texas A&M. I think
A&M
is an Adidas school.
But you got to catch them when they hot, though. The thing about A&M, I'm going to tell you A&M season right here in a nutshell. They're going to start off hot. Then they're going to run to Bama. Bama going to expose them. They're going to put that thing on them.
That sounds like some teams we're going to talk about in NFC East.
And then they're going to get a little shaky. And then they're going to start to pick it up towards the end of the season. But by then, it's going to be too late.
And then they're in the Outback Bowl.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing about A&M. They start out really, really good, and everyone's like, "Oh, is this A&M team legit?" And all you got to do is play them boys from Tuscaloosa to find out.
What you made of?
Captain, we just ain't got it. Although, did they beat them last year? No, they didn't. No. They put up a fight though. That's
all you can ask. I'm trying to think who else is an Adidas school. I think A&M might be the best, and that proves my point. Get sponsored by Nike, guys. Checks.
Hey, you know how I feel about being sponsored by Nike.
Checks over stripes.
You damn right. Shout out to Drizzy for that bar. All right. Now I know we was as you mentioned, we was about to get into, some NFL football. So people, this week on our road to the kickoff of the NFL season, we are going to be previewing the NFC East. Otherwise known as the NFC least.
Nope, we're not going by that name anymore.
To everybody else who's not a fan of one of these NFC least teams, It is the NFC least. But for proper terms, let's call them what they are, the NFC East.
That disrespect stops
is
this season.
Okay. This is the division that includes the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, and of course the Washington football team. With a little asterisk on that for name pending. So Danny Ocean, I'm gonna start with you. Run me through all 4 teams' record, starting from the worst team to the best team, and
all
who
right.
you think is gonna win it.
This is Cal. First of all, we're not going to sit here and talk about NFC East slander will not prosper on this show ever. Cal says NFC or AFC South. One of them is the worst division of football. Both of them have relations to Carson Wentz, but that's a conversation for another day. Cal, you can take that elsewhere. We'll talk about the NFC North another week. But for now, here's how I have the NFC East breaking down. I have the Washington racial slurs at 4th, 5-12. You won the division last year. Congratulations. Now you got to play a first place schedule. Good luck with that. I'm going to tell you the Ryan Fitzpatrick train is going to do what it always does. It's going to start off hot. Oh, it's Fitzmagic, the starter quarterback for the Washington racial slurs. And then he's going to hit a bump and he's going to be downhill for the rest of the season. That defense is going to do so much. At 3rd place, those bum-ass New York Giants and their bum-ass, dork-ass, dumb-ass coach. You're not dumb-ass. Joe Judge. They're 6-11. They were out on these streets crying on Twitter last year, week 17, because the Eagles win tank for them. Nah, fam, you're bums. You've been bums. Your coach is a bum. He's making them run laps like they're high schoolers. You're going to be 6-11. Saquon doesn't mean that much as you think it is. Daniel Jones is a bum. He's not going to get paid. Have fun drafting the kid from Liberty next year, 3 overall in the draft. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. I have them at 11-6. They have the easiest schedule by the numbers in the entire NFL. It's going to start off rough. So Eagles fans, we play Atlanta week 1. That's a push. And then I know we play like Tampa Bay, Kansas City. Like the first 6 weeks are going to be rough. But if we weather the storm, that back half of the schedule is pretty manageable. And I think the Eagles can manage that schedule. At the top slot, it hurts my heart to say this because I forgot to add my division records. I'm sorry. Washington 1-5. We don't care about y'all. Giants 3-3. Eagles 3-3. And then I have the Cowboys at 12-5 and 5-1 in the division. I think the Cowboys, as we speak right now, are the clear-cut favorites in this division. Dak is back. That offense is going to be humming so well. It does not matter. I see them like a very poor man's Kansas City Chiefs, right? Our offense is great. We don't need a great defense. We just need you to bend, don't break. We need turnovers. We don't need a top 10 unit. We just need you to be opportunistic.
Oh my. Okay. I got some questions on that one, but I'll get into mine. So
bum ass New York Giants.
Oh man. So starting from the bottom, I have the Philadelphia Eagles finishing dead last in that division at 7-9 with a 2-4 divisional record. Come on now.
I can see that though. Like the Eagles are either going to be like 7-9 or 11-6. Like there's not going to be. They're going to be surprising or they're going to be exactly who we think they are. So I can see that.
I'm going with exactly who we think they are. So I got the Philadelphia Eagles at 7-9 with a 2-4 divisional record. I have the Washington football team at 8-9 with a 1-5 divisional record.
We agree.
I have the New York Giants at 10-7 with a 4-2 divisional record, leaning on the defense. I think Danny Dimes takes a step. I think now he's got Kenny Golladay, a reliable option. He's getting Saquon back. I think Evan Ingram's going to take an even bigger step. I think they got enough pieces around. I like the New York Giants at 10-7, which has me agreeing with you for my divisional winner being the Dallas Cowboys at 11-6. I think they're going to go 5-1 in the division. I'm with you. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to be all offense, no defense. No defense. I think their defense is going to be shaky, but I think they're going to put up at least 30 on everybody because they got enough weapons to do it. I think Dak's going to be back. I'm going to root for Dak. Great man, great quarterback. I think Jerry Jones, as entertaining as he is, he's also put a good offensive team around him. I think the return of Zeke this year, along with those 3 offensive linemen that they lost last year is going to be really, really big. I like the Dallas Cowboys to win this division.
So I have another hot take. It's not hot. It's actually based in facts. I think Zeke is washed. There's only one player in the NFL that has more career carries than Zeke Elliott. Do you know who he is? I think we've talked about this before.
It's not Derrick Henry, is it?
No. There's only one person in the NFL right now who has more carries than Zeke Elliott.
It's not Adrian Peterson?
Nope.
Okay. Dalvin Cook.
It is Mark Ingram.
Huh?
Mark Ingram.
The only running back in the league that has more carries than Zeke.
Mark Ingram. That's how much the Dallas Cowboys have squeezed out of Zeke in his first 5 years in the league. That takes its toll. He looked washed. You know, every run last year that Zeke had over 20 yards, he fumbled. Zeke is washed, and that's okay to say, right?
Your research department is incredible.
Hey, when it comes to slaughtering these Cowboy fans, it is an art. It is an art that I enjoy when it comes to slaughtering NFC East opponents like those bum-ass Giants. I got a fact for Daniel Jones when we move to our storylines on why he's still going to be a bum. But yeah, okay, Zeke is washed.
So this is my question to you.
Yes.
As an Eagle fan, what do you think? Do you think you and the Cowboys are going to split the season series, or do you think one's going to sweep the other?
Split. It'll be a split.
Okay.
It's rare. It's rare that someone gets swept in this division.
I think the Cowboys are sweeping y'all. I think the Cowboys only lost.
You can think what you want.
I think the Cowboys' only loss in the division is likely going to be to the Washington football team.
That's fair.
So, talk to me about your biggest storylines for this NFC East.
Yeah. Come on, dog. Don't be. Here you go. That's all right. Keep shooting, because that clip gonna be empty real soon. We one of the best divisions in the league. For me, the biggest it's the quarterbacks. That's the biggest storyline. Daniel Jones. This is the year. Is it the year? Fun fact for Daniel Fraud: he has 27 starts and 39 turnovers. Good luck with that. Y'all think he's gonna take the step and be Josh Allen? The boy's a bum. But all right, y'all keep firing him up like he's someone decent. Enjoy yourselves on the Danny Diamond experience. How he Danny anyway? Dak, if Dak is back, he is back. And if he's playing at the level we know he can play at, I think we both agree that this Cowboys team is that team to beat. We talked about how I feel about Fitzpatrick. He's going to have highs and lows, and the highs are going to be short, and the lows are going to be long and weary. Can that defense hold up? Probably, but at some point, you can't win every week 9-3. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to score at some point in time. And then, of course, for us is Jalen Hurts, the guy that we think he is. Worst case scenario in my mind is that Jalen Hurts is just okay. He has his moments, but the Eagles are, not 10-7, 9-8. They're just middle of the road, because that means we're drafting mid-first round, not good enough to go get. We'll have the ammo, but I need Jalen to either be Russell Wilson special, or I need him, to the bottom fall out so we have some draft capital.
I think the biggest storyline, in my opinion, in this division is going to be how the Washington football team, over half of their losses could have been wins if they had a good quarterback. I think they're going to be in a position to win just about every football game and lose all of those winnable games because they don't have the quarterback play to get them over the hump. I'm with you. I think if you've watched Fitz long enough in his career, they're going to start out 4-0, and it's just going to go all downhill from there once the team figures them out. So I think the biggest storyline is going to be how the football team could have easily won this division had they had a real defense. So going off of that, staying on that team, my breakout player for the division, believe it or not, it's a tie between Chase Young and CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have an incredible year this year. I think he's going to really take that next step. I think the pairing of him and Amari Cooper is really going to allow him to see a little bit more single coverage, obviously, because you maybe have to if you're going to double team one, I think you're going to double team Amari a little bit more. So I think CeeDee Lamb is going to have an incredible year. And I think on the defensive side of the ball, is why I have them as co-breakout players. I think Chase Young's really going to take this next step in the second year, and I think he's just going to be a beast. I think he is going to be a man amongst boys, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see him really break out. I know he was a defensive rookie of the year, so maybe it's a little bit of a reach to call him the breakout player, but I think, he's going to outdo himself from last year.
So I promise to the people listening and watching, we did not share notes. We don't talk about this. CeeDee Lamb is my breakout player. I don't know if you guys saw, but there's this video. The Rams and the Cowboys are practicing together, and CeeDee Lamb is just cooking Jalen Ramsey. Like, he put that man in the spin cycle. That's all I need to see. CeeDee Lamb is going to eat, and that's why I drafted him. Mm-hmm. And I are going for 2 league. Shout out to me for winning this money in that league, too. I'm taking everybody money. And, yeah, CeeDee Lamb, for me, CeeDee Lamb is the breakout. And it's not even close. Like, CeeDee.
So who is your division MVP?
Chase Young. Chase Young. I feel Chase Young might be in the talk for defensive player of the year. That defensive line, him, Montez Sweat, Payne, like, you can't double anybody. And I feel like Chase is going to eat regardless.
I think my division MVP, believe it or not, is going to be Dak Prescott. I think Dak's going to come back, though, for a 45 to 4,800, around 40-some TDs, 10 interceptions. He's going to have a great year. I'm excited to see, what he can do, especially coming back after injury, especially with those guys coming back from injury. So I'm excited to see Dak just because I like seeing him healthy, like seeing him back. And again, I still think in a division full of a bunch of frauds, the Cowboys are the least of the
least fraudulent.
Yeah, the least.
That's
fraudulent.
Fair.
So I know, we wrapping up here. So I know you wanted to speak on Waffle House, and I've been seeing your Waffle House slander. We've been going kind of off camera back and forth about your Waffle House slander. Sir, defend yourself, because Waffle House bangs. That's my argument. Waffle House bangs.
So I saw a thread on Twitter, and this has happened a couple of times, like someone just going to Waffle House and eating waffles all day. And every picture, I'm going to find this gentleman because I want to give him credit for eating that trash food all day while I look for this. And every time he posted a picture of a waffle, it just looks sadder and sadder. How the waffle burnt in the middle and undercooked on the outside?
That's because the chef was in there. They was whipping it too hard. They left it on a little bit. He probably took a smoke break and forgot about it for a little bit. Had to come back to it. Yo, chill.
A gentleman chill on Waffle House. No. We're not chilling on Waffle House. And so then I did this experiment, and I threaded my experience. If you guys want to go follow me on Twitter, MattAds14, I went to the Waffle House website and I looked at the pictures that they had of the food that's on the menu, and all that shit looked disgusting. If the picture looked gross, I don't want to see it in person because the picture's supposed to pull me in. The eggs were wet.
Pause.
The sausage.
You know what? I'm glad you stopped because you talking crazy for a man who eat Cracker Barrel. You eat Cracker Barrel. It's wild, man. People, for my people out here listening, this is how you know black folks, and they get a little bit of money, they start acting uppity. My man over here, he making the good bucks, eating that Cracker Barrel and IHOP now. Now he trying to talk down on us Waffle House eating folks. Let me tell you something. Waffle House bangs. It gives you a good bang for your buck. I don't know what you're getting, but I'm always getting the same thing. Chocolate waffle, order the hash browns, and if I'm a little hungry, maybe did some recreational activities before I went, add that grilled cheese on the side. People, stop playing with Waffle House. Danny, I'm gonna need you to stop playing with. Have you ever ate Waffle House?
Yes, and the food was full of flies. No, thank you.
Wait, that means you was at a good one then.
Then God help the bad ones. If that was a good one.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the dirtier, the nastier, the grimier your Waffle House store is, the better the food is gonna be.
I went to the menu and their steak and eggs. That steak looked like a scab on someone's knee. That was the driest steak I have ever seen in my life. And that's the picture on the menu. That's what's supposed to bring me to.
You're so stupid. It looked like what?
It looked like a knee scab. That was the nastiest thing. And then I went to the biscuits, because how do you mess up a biscuit? They making me pay for ham biscuits that I can go to the repast after a funeral and get for free. Them the most basic looking ham biscuits I done ever seen in my life.
You eat Cracker Barrel, man. That's
Cracker Barrel pancakes is 8-1-1. No, ain't no breakfast food better than Cracker Barrel pancakes if we talking about chain restaurants. I put everything on that.
We gotta agree to disagree. Because I think you're crazy. So
and then, hold on, I know one more. Them disgusting, ugly looking omelets. The cheese not even melted in the pictures, fam.
Nah. You going too far.
The cheese not even melted in the picture on their website. The food is not made for you. I wouldn't feed that to an animal. Y'all love yourselves, respect yourselves. Go to Cracker Barrel, get you some pancakes with the warm bottle of syrup, and enjoy your meal. If you're gonna spend money on food, don't let it be dog food.
You ain't never been drunk and had to hit you a Waffle House and that junk still be bad.
I wouldn't walk in a Waffle House.
You want outside. You just want outside in prime Waffle House days, and it's still prime Waffle House days. You just wasn't outside.
I would die on the street before I eat Waffle House again.
But you was outside when Dipset was alive and well.
Jesus,
and I told you last week, don't play with the Locks. The Locks got records. And you was wrong. Just like you're wrong about Waffle House, you were wrong last week about the Locks versus Dipset. Explain yourself.
So I tweeted this, and I'm trying to find this tweet. And I told you last week, I said, no matter what's happening, as soon as the Dipset anthem plays, it is going to even the score. Like no matter what that's how much power the Dipset anthem has. And the Locks had a slight lead, and then the Dipset anthem dropped.
Slight.
They had a lead.
Okay.
And I can't even find the tweet. Dang it, because I thought about this hard. It doesn't even matter, though. They had the lead. Dipset anthem dropped. And I text you. And I said the energy just changed. And you know it. Like they dropped the Dipset anthem. They had the crowd. There was a small window to come back. And these are the songs they should have played after that to take the lead and win the verses. After the Dipset anthem, it should have been Mic Check by Jewels. It should have been Oh Boy, Oh Yes, Hey Ma, and then Jim Jones ends with Ballin'. That would have won them the verses. But you can't go to Jewels because his drunk ass forgot his own lyrics in the beginning, so you can't trust him. So now we get too much Jim Jones. Jim Jones should have had, they did, like the Locks did it perfectly. Jadakiss was Jordan, and they ended with Styles P, I Get High. Like they did it perfectly. Like we got just enough Styles P. Dipset, the Locks rehearsed. They took it seriously. Dipset woke up last Tuesday morning and said, oh, damn, we got verses tonight. And also the importance of a DJ, because the Locks and their DJ were on the same page. It's like they thought of every scenario. Dipset was kind of looking back at their DJs like, drop, yeah, that's cool. Like, Dipset didn't take it seriously, and they deserve to lose. They got throttled.
Like Jadakiss said, it was good, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't. The Locks, the Locks are MCs for real. They got records for real. Not to say Dipset don't have records, but you saw the difference.
Yes.
You got a Benz and I got a Benz, but they know the difference. That's the song lyrics. Neither one of us has Benz. Neither one of us has a Benz.
No, I don't have a Benz. Oh, man. From your lips to God's ears, man. From your lips to God's ears.
Look, I knew what it was when they came out to FU. That's it. Oh, yeah. We on that type of time. Then Jada bring out the Clue Tape freestyles with the Who Shot You freestyle.
Dog, they were talking like Jada says, y'all don't know nothing about mixtapes. And it's like Jewels has an entire mixtape where he holds his own with Lil Wayne in his prime. Like they didn't even go to I Can't Feel My Face. Like Jewels looks at Jada and says, you ain't got no song for the girls, like an idiot. And Jada's like, I ain't got song for the girls. And
yeah,
why goes into a medley.
They baited him into saying that. And as soon as he said, they said, oh, we ain't got no records for the women? Say less.
Oh,
Run this one. It was ugly.
Dipset. I mean, and they're going on tour together. Like, I really want to go see Jadakiss in concert because if he puts on a show like that, he can have my money. I'm not even deep into Kiss's catalog like that. But after watching the verses,
I've seen Jadakiss in person like once or twice. Remember when I went to Complex Con a couple years ago? I saw Jadakiss like in person out there, and I would have never guessed that dude that was talking is that funny. Like when he's up there doing his thing, that dude is hilarious. I've always known he's a legendary MC. Really, if you've listened to hip hop, you know about Jadakiss. So it's funny. I've been seeing people kind of discover that Jadakiss is really, really good at what he does, and I'm like, yo, you're really new to hip hop. Okay.
12.
Yeah. Your favorite rapper got to be Drake then. If you're just now discovering Jadakiss can rap, but overall, I think it was a win for hip hop. Oh, shout out to Will. He said, "Yo, D-Mix, found myself stranded in Virginia on Saturday and tried Cookout for the first time. Cookout, it's one of them ones. It's one of them ones.
Cookout.
But yeah, I've always known Jadakiss was legit. So I think that whole battle was just a win for hip hop. So shout out to the Lock, shout out to Dipset, shout out to hip hop, shout out to New York. I'm not a New Yorker, but shout out to New York for holding it down with the energy. Last thing we're gonna talk about before we get up out of here. I know you saw the new Suicide Squad movie. Yes. I did as well. I'm gonna start off by saying I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it's one of the better movies that DC has put out, which I think DC has gotten kind of lost in their own ways because they've been trying to live up to the Dark Knight trilogy, but they're also trying to keep up with Marvel and the MCU. And it's kind of hard because when you've already put out 3 classics and your rival is dropping classics, now you're like, yo, I really got to step my shit up. They've had a little bit of trouble since then. But I think with this Suicide Squad movie, I think they're really getting back into a real groove. And Margot Robbie, I'll take my glasses off of this.
Oh, God.
All American milk. First, she's a all milk first team, all milk second team, all milk third team, all defensive milk MVP, finals milk MVP, Super Bowl milk MVP. Lord have mercy. Co-defensive rookie defensive milk MVP. What generational talent. Thank you, Will. She is a generational talent. And there's not much milk out here like Margot Robbie. Jennifer Aniston in there. That's a nice piece of milk. But Margot Robbie, I'm gonna just say this. She had me in that movie ready to get beat up by Harley Quinn. I almost committed a crime hoping Harley Quinn will come maybe save me or something. Margot, look, generational talent. That's all I got to say. Oh, and the movie's pretty good too. But
I got nothing.
What you think of the movie?
What can I say after? So I keep seeing people like saying, so the movie was okay. Like if the bar is DC and the bar is in hell, then sure, it was a superb movie.
Oh, stop it.
But it's not even top 5.
Played their role pretty well.
I mean, it was good for what it was, right? John Cena was great. Idris Elba was great. Margot Robbie was great. Whoever played Ratcatcher was great. No spoilers. We're trying not to spoil it. Like, they carried the joint. Like, John Cena is a certified movie star. He carried that joint. He was great.
For some reason, I don't know why, but that role seemed so fit for John.
Like, shout out to casting.
Yeah,
it was
shout out to
perfect. Like, he carried him and Idris Elba carried this joint to the finish line. It was a James Gunn movie. It was a lot of humor in it, a few dirty jokes, some things you got to pay attention to. I enjoyed it, but I probably won't watch it again until 2023.
Why 23?
I don't know. That just feels right. That just feels right.
Yo, what's the normal wait time before you rewatch a movie?
See, I'm not a big fan of rewatching stuff because I know what's going to happen, so my attention's broken. Like, that's what, like, my wife, she's rewatched Mad Men like 8 times since we've been together. Like, she loves finding new stuff. And for me, it's like, I know what's about to happen, so I'm not going to pay attention. Like, I'd love to sit down and rewatch The Wire, but I just can't do it. I know what's about to happen.
I think there's, and we can maybe table this conversation for next week, but I think there is something for people who like to watch shows or movies a lot. I think there's a reason because of it, but we can talk about that next week. We can just table that for next week. Yo, what division we getting into next week? What's the next division?
I was going to ask you. We either can go AFC North or we need to go North and West, whichever one you want to go to. You want to go to AFC North or go to AFC West?
Let's go AFC West. I want to talk about.
We're going to Kansas City. All right. Next week, AFC West.
AFC West. All right, people. Danny, let them know where to find you. You already know when it comes to finding me. Follow your boy at Los D-Mix on IG, on Twitter. You know it's good vibes. You know what happens when you see these waves. Next time y'all see me, I have the fresh cut. But boy, look at these waves. They swimming though. They low-key swimming though.
You need to get the canoe in that joint.
Shoot, boy, I'm telling you, they was in that Olympics. Like then when they was really in sync, like you can tell when they like really generating force because they taking the long. That's what I heard when they was. But shout out to them. Shout out to everyone. Make sure you follow your boy at Los D-Mix. Danny Ocean, holla at you. Holla at him with your socials, man.
You can follow me on Twitter at MadAds14 for all my Waffle House takes. I'm gonna pin that menu thread at the top because the world needs to see it. The world needs to see how terrible the food look on the website. I can't imagine what the food looks like in person.
What happens if some of these previews we have turn out to be right? Like what
they're gonna be right.
I hope so. I'm gonna tell you right now. If my Patriots take turned out to be good, I'm gonna have some Patriots fans in my mentions talking about some welcome to Patriots Twitter. As long as y'all don't drop the hard ER my way, I'm cool.
So, you talk about Cracker Barrel, dog. Patriots Twitter ain't nothing but Cracker Barrel.
Yo, as long as you don't drop the hard ER, I will welcomely come to Patriots Twitter. Oh shit. All right, man. Look, people, that's all we got. Thanks for hanging out. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Hey, man. And if you got someone who getting on your damn nerves, just speak on it. Tell them to stop getting on your damn nerves. Peace.